One of the most important steps of the research process is gathering academic journal articles so you can learn about what's already known about your topic. It's equally important, though, to know how to assess the credibility of those articles so that the knowledge your research is built on is sound. So, to that end, this lesson has two goals. First, you're going to learn what makes academic research articles different from the other articles you find about your topic. You'll probably recognize some terms and concepts that you learned even in your earliest science classes about research, that it needs to be valid, and that you need to be able to replicate it. You'll also learn about other key features of academic research, such as where these articles are found and why that matters. Another thing you'll see in this lesson is what tools are available to help you find these academic journal articles and how you can use them most efficiently. I'll also talk briefly about what you'll do with these articles once you find them so that you can be working in a way that will ultimately make later stages of the research process a little easier. There's a simple reason why we primarily use academic research articles when we're doing our own academic research. It's credibility. When you find a research article in a journal, you know that article was assessed by someone in the field and deemed to be credible. Because these articles have to go through a gatekeeper, usually an editor or some reviewers, you can reasonably expect them to be correct and well done research themselves. That provides a good foundation you can use for your own research. Good research has a couple of important characteristics. For starters, good research is clear about what it wants to learn, and it uses methods that allow the authors to actually answer their research question or prove their hypothesis. That's what makes the research valid. A gatekeeper, like a journal article reviewer, will help make sure that this is the case in the articles you would read in an academic journal. But it's also important that the research be replicable. This means that someone else can do the exact same research method and, in theory, find out the same results. That's why you write about your research methods in this type of paper, so that someone could repeat them and so that your research is replicable. Finally, authors of academic journal articles need to show that they have some knowledge of the field. They do this in the literature review section of the paper, where they synthesize and summarize what they've already learned about a topic. And this section of the paper can be a great opportunity for you to learn additional things about your topic as well. We'll be talking about the literature review a little later. I'm going to talk about Google Scholar in a minute because it's a really fantastic tool for academic research that has made a ton of things much easier. But there's still the traditional route, which is to use databases and other search tools along with relevant keywords about your topic. So let's take a look at those. So here I am on Belk Library's page that has the academic database, and you'll probably recognize this page. You've hopefully been here before, and you'll notice that there are a number of different links to different databases. Academic Search Complete, ProQuest, JSTOR. You might have used these tools already. The thing to keep in mind is that these are only search engines that get you to the articles. These are not the publications themselves. This is going to be important when you're doing citations. So these are different search databases. I'll just open ProQuest as an example that can help you enter search terms and find academic research about your topic. So these databases can help you find articles, and you can have access to these articles, usually as a PDF file. I usually spend some time doing keyword searches in these databases and downloading PDFs of articles until I have a good number of them to start with. I mostly look through the search results to see titles that seem like they'll be relevant to my research topic. But you might find sometimes that the title of your article doesn't exactly talk about what's in the article itself. It might be a little misleading. So it's important to spend a brief moment reviewing the abstract to make sure that the article is going to be relevant to what you want to learn about. The abstract can be helpful in doing this. You might want to also go ahead and read the introduction as well, just to make sure that this research is going to be relevant to the topic that you want to learn about. Now, once you've decided that an article is relevant to your research, you want to make sure that you take your time and you're thorough about reading it and processing it using whatever system of note-taking you've decided on. We're going to be talking in later stages of this process about good ways to understand what's in academic articles and keep that and collect that in a logical way so that you can use it for later assignments, including the annotated bibliography and the literature review. Now, once you've found an article that's relevant to your research, it's really easy to use that article to find other relevant articles that you can review and assess to see if they are relevant. Most people know that you can use the list of references at the end of the article, and you can look up any of those articles if they seem relevant to your research. But what a lot of people don't know is that you can use Google Scholar to find later articles, articles written after your article, that your relevant article is cited by, rather than just looking at the earlier articles that your article cites. So let me show you how to do this. So this is Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a really fantastic tool in a lot of ways. A lot of times I use Google Scholar when I'm looking at a reference list in order to find the articles that the reference list mentions. You can also search by a particular author's name. So just for fun, let's look up me. Okay. When you look up an author, and especially when you use the quotation marks to indicate that you want that exact name, it takes you to all of the information, all the publications by that author. So if you look at this first result, which is the book I wrote a few years ago, you'll notice that right down here, you see this link where it says cited by 19. So if you click on that cited by link, this shows you all of the articles that have been written and books that have been written since that publication that have cited the book that I wrote. And you can actually do some filtering down the side here. So if you want things that are much more recent, or if you want a custom range of dates. One more great feature of Google Scholar is the ability to format citations easily. So if you have done a search and you found your source that you're going to be using, it's really easy to just click down here where it says cite. Okay, and that gives you all of these different citation formats for whatever different citation style you choose to use throughout your paper. Now, depending on the topic of your research, it might be necessary for you to write a brief section for your paper that gets put into the paper before the literature review, where you establish some background information on the topic that you're talking about. This is going to be a lot like the research you've been doing for other research projects in college, and regular Google searches can help you find potential sources for background information. But it's really important that you vet those sources for credibility. These aren't articles from an academic journal, so there's no saying that someone has already assessed them and found them to be good. That job is up to you. For research that you're going to use in your own academic research, you want to make sure that you're being particularly rigorous with your assessment of the source's credibility. How do you do that? Well, you make sure that your sources aren't crap. What I mean is that you can use this test, which is hilariously known as the crap test, to assess the credibility of your sources on these 5 dimensions. You're trying to find out a couple of things here: whether the authors know what they're talking about, whether the research is recent or whether it might be outdated, and whether the research might have an ulterior motive or another purpose for being written. It's important to make sure that you're building your own research on top of the results from existing research that's valid in order for your research to be sound.